What's a bad thing everyone should experience once? NSFW. Everyone should experience firsthand how money can destroy close relationships and how quickly it can happen. I was dating a girl who had a lifelong friend with bad credit. Like really bad. She wanted to buy a new car, but couldn't get approved for a loan and asked my friend to co-sign. Then it turned out her credit was so bad, she couldn't even use a co-signer. They wouldn't issue the loan unless with her name anywhere on it. So she had the idea, could you buy the car / get the loan? And I'll just make the monthly payments until it's paid off. I told her, do not do this. There is a reason she has bad credit. Well, she didn't listen and bought the car for her friend. Her friend made exactly one payment to her, and the next month nothing. She started ditching phone calls, and then we find out she moved out of her apartment. Suddenly this girl's family, who my friend has known for like 15 years, is pretending they don't know where she lives and has no way of getting in contact with her. A couple more weeks and an envelope with half a car payment, 3 weeks late at this point, shows up stuck under my girlfriend's doormat. Next payment comes due, and nothing. So now my girlfriend is making the payments every month on a car she hasn't seen in months. Her friend who promised to make payments is a payment and a half behind, and it's only been 3 months. The one thing she had listened to me about was she kept a key to the car. So we had the idea we'd find the car and take it, since it was legally and morally her car anyway. So we spent I don't even know how many weeks every night driving around for hours, hitting this chick's hangout spots, friends' houses, family houses, etc. until one night we find the car parked in front of her father's condo. My girlfriend jumped in, took the car, and drove it to another friend's house who was going to let her put it in his garage for a while until things cooled off. We weren't 2 minutes gone before bad credit chick is blowing up her pager. Yeah, it was that long ago. Having suddenly remembered her number. Anyway, long story short, this was a lifelong friendship, and this chick barely even hesitated at the chance to steal a ducking car from someone who was trying to help her. For many men, a finger in the ass, but for good reason. Get your prostates checked. The first time I had that done, the doctor finished, so I looked back at him and said, stick another finger in there. Document. I need a second opinion. Apostrophe. I was surprised when my doctor did my test the first time at how long his fingers were. He was able to get a finger in there while he had both hands on my shoulders. Being humiliated for being an asshole. Some people need this to happen more than once. Agreed. That moment of self-awareness when you realize no, you're not being funny or the other person isn't in the wrong, but you are being an asshole. That's humbling. You learn to be a better person from the experience. Poverty will make you appreciate what you have at least a little. I think it's important to get used or ripped off once by a supposed friend. My son, when a teen, would believe anyone, any story, any hard luck tale. Then came the day a friend sold him fishing poles for way too much money and he dropped them off. They didn't have any reels on them. My son was so hurt and pissed. I felt bad for him, but he never forgot that lesson. Be careful who you call a friend. Met this girl, talked to her on the internet for years, never really went anywhere, but talking / typing to her became a part of my regular routine for so long that I felt like I knew her, even though in reality, of course, I actually didn't. One day she hits me up talking about how she desperately needs money and is looking to sell this gift card someone got her. I think nothing of it and say sure. I take it home and go online to activate it, at which point I find it was obviously stolen. Go on Facebook and see that she's updated her status. Sucker. Apostrophe. Minor car accident, so that you understand, even if nobody is hurt, how quickly it happens. How hard the cars jolt on collision, and how much hassle it is to get through the insurance, etc. It's happened where 2 drivers have driven into me in the past. I drive with real caution for months afterwards, and am extremely attentive to the road as a result. Take public transportation. I know a shit ton of people who've never taken it. I personally find it kind of soothing. Except when I'm taking the bus home from work in the morning, i.e. right now. If I could drive, I'd be at home and in my bed. Having a terrible roommate/flatmate, it really makes you appreciate future living situations, especially with a the moment of panic and the lingering feeling in the pit of your stomach when you're driving, and narrowly avoid what could have been a disaster. Not even necessarily your fault. Things like braking for a deer, or a car not seeing you in their blind spot and changing lanes into you, and you have to hit the horn. Something that reminds you that no matter how much time we spend driving and how easy it usually is, vehicles are ducking dangerous and you don't want to get careless. Something that reminds you why driving deserves your full attention the entire time. Working in retail and/or food service. Working those jobs really changes your perspective on what is an appropriate way to behave in those environments and shows you that many people have no idea how to behave appropriately in them. A relationship with a superficial/pretentious person makes you appreciate humble people even more. Indifference from complete strangers when you are in a time of need. It seems oddly specific, but can really be translated in many settings. From being stranded and trying to hitchhike home to begging for money for your next meal. Given some time, you realize a lot of people are ducks. A lot are simply ignoring you completely, and some will go far out of their way to help. It helps you be a better person. Being at the mercy of someone else after you've done something to deserve getting your ass whooped. I'm not saying everyone should experience getting bashed, but I think there are a lot of people out there with attitude problems that have never experienced the consequences of their actions. A little fear can be enough to make people think twice before being dickheads to others. Again, I'm not advocating violence, but the stomach plunging into your feet because you know you done ducked up by being a tool to someone that isn't having your shit, that I think is a valuable lesson in how not to behave as a human being. Failing at something, because after that you'll grow and be able to 1. Achieve more. 2. Use it as motivation. 3. Know that failing is okay. Near-death experience. You never really appreciate the finite nature of your own life until you've breathed what you believe to be your last breath. Then to have the brain go into panic mode, images flashing and a strong inbuilt survival mechanism kicking in, forcing every part of yourself to fight for life, to then have it all go black. You wake up exhilarated, like nothing I've ever felt since or before. The air on your skin that you've never realized before. The feeling of air filling your lungs as you breathe. The smells and tastes are all amplified. It lasted for at least a year. The urge to savor every little thing in life and see all the previous annoyances as petty and meaningless in the grand scheme of things. It also puts into perspective the sheer terror of death, and I believe it gave me a greater level of sympathy for those that are not as lucky. I think everyone would be a lot less violent and warmongering if they had felt the emptiness of death. Laying a beloved pet to rest. I had to say goodbye to my best friend of 15 years, my yellow Labrador, this past Monday. Worst day of my life. I don't know if I can ever have another dog, as they will never measure up to him, and I never want to go through this again. He slept by my bedside every night, and every night I would reach down to pet him before going to sleep. Now he isn't there. Go hug your pets. Being broke. You appreciate what little you have and what it's like to earn hard-earned money at it. Thanks for the gold. First gold ever. Probably helps you to be empathetic towards other people that are broke and not just resort to telling them to stop being lazy. Being a server and waiting on a table of people that treat you like a servant. Hard labor and working in customer service. Heartbreak / being broken up with. It's awful, but I think an important growing experience. Edit. Thank you for the gold. Kind Redditor. Getting stuck somewhere far from home late at night and having to find your own way back teaches you a lot of methods that might be useful in a bind. Watching someone die. When I watched my grandmother die, I looked at my dad holding her hand. At first I thought to myself, I'm going to do the same thing too. Then I thought, someone is going to watch me die too. It was at that moment that death no longer scared me. Running through fields of wheat. Being in a physical fight with another person. Best to do it while you are young. There are much less consequences. It is always scary, but it will help you understand how to handle confrontation better in the future. You will see it never happens like it does in the movies. Right before you both get off, take a really deep breath. The extra oxygen goes straight to your brain and makes your orgasm about 2x more intense. Edit. You are all welcome. Enjoy falling off the bed. Getting rejected by a girl after the first time. It's so much easier. Hey, thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.